Now all my flavors are guaranteed to satisfy. Yes, I'm your ice cream man. Stop me when I'm passing by. I'm your ice cream man. Stop me when I'm passing by. They say all my flavors are guaranteed to satisfy. Wow, what time? Stop me when I'm passing by. I'm your ice cream man. Stop me when I'm passing by. They say all my flavors are.
Hey everyone, my hand is permanently stuck like this after practicing that solo for the last couple of days. Holy hell, that's a stretch, that one. Thought I would tackle one of Eddie's toughest and most famous solos to kick off my little tribute video to him. It took me a few days, and I would be remiss to not do some kind of tribute video to the great Eddie Van Halen, considering how important he was to my development as a player when I was just a young lad, locked in my Van Halen shrine of a bedroom all those years ago. Eddie Van Halen was an important figure to a hell of a lot of people, of course, most importantly to his family. I hope that they can find peace and strength in each other going forward since his unfortunate passing earlier this week. Especially his wife and his brother Alex and his son Wolfgang. The rest of us are secondary. Basically, we knew and loved Eddie through his music, and most importantly to us guitar players through his incredible talent and innovation on what is our chosen instrument. Very few of us knew Eddie Van Halen. We knew the public side of Eddie Van Halen, and of course we knew his music. That beautifully written, fun, and melodic, guitar-driven hard rock music that first graced our ears for the very first time way back in 1978. Was Eddie Van Halen a good guy? I don't know. Kind and considerate to his bandmates and fans, and free of controversy, and generally all-around good soul and human being. Only a few people close to him would know that. Frankly, I don't care about such things. I've read stuff that would say otherwise at times throughout his life and career, as may have you. I've read Running with the Devil, the book by longtime manager Noel Monk, and it wasn't all pretty. It was pretty damned ugly at times, to tell the truth. Eddie certainly wasn't all sunshine and roses throughout his life and times within the confines of Van Halen. Ego and fame and money and power and drugs and alcohol and scrutiny and a life lived in the spotlight can certainly warp a person over time. I can't honestly see how it wouldn't. However, I've separated all of that because, to tell the truth, it's not important to me. To me, it was all about the music. To me, it was his genius on what is my and his chosen instrument and his unrelenting dedication to it. And for many of us, that was enough. For me, the music was everything, like I said. To my 14-year-old ears, hearing that debut album for the first time and countless times since, literally changed my life. It gave this somewhat of a juvenile, delinquent, and aimless teenager focus and direction in life. At this point, I was learning a few things on the guitar, but I wasn't very dedicated and just did it for fun when I was bored. And then I heard Eddie Van Halen. I want to do that, I thought. I want to play like that. Just like that. This was guitar playing unlike anything I had heard up to this point. And while other guitar players made me want to learn a few things on the guitar, it was Eddie who put the drive in me to not just play the instrument adequately, but to sacrifice most of my teenage years to being locked in a bedroom for 10 to 14 hours a day practicing. I owe that to him, and I thank him. Thank you, Eddie Van Halen. Now, despite a rather large gap in my life between the age of 28 and 53, where I gave up the guitar and kind of fell into the bottom of a bottle, People who knew me then and when I was a teenager and in my 20s, and people who know me now, know me for pretty much one thing. I'm the guitar guy, obviously. The guy obsessed with his guitars. It's my identity, and has been for most of my life, except for those lost years in between. If when I'm gone to join Eddie in the great beyond, and people remember me for anything, it'll most certainly be for that, and I'm totally cool with that. And it all started with Eddie Van Halen. He shaped my life and gave me an identity, and he didn't even know that I existed. Maybe, just maybe, he saw me one night staring up at him in amazement, wide-eyed amazement, when I was front row center at the Halifax Metro Centre when the mighty Van Halen stopped in my little city of Halifax, Nova Scotia on their Fair Warning tour back in 1982. He, of course, would have no idea that he was shaping that long-haired 18-year-old kid's life forever, and just what he meant to me. But I knew. I wanted to be him, you know, and not in a weird, stocky kind of way, of course. I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted to play guitar just as good as he did, and I was ready, willing, and able to put in the countless hours of practice to try my best to get that job done. Of the 10,000 people in the auditorium that night, most were simply fans of Van Halen's music. Lots were girls checking out the hot frontman in David Lee Roth. Some were probably moms and dads bringing their 13, 14-year-old kids to see the hottest band in the world at the time. And there were no doubt lots of guitar players in the audience there to check out the great Eddie Van Halen. But I think few, if any, were as driven and as dedicated to the instrument because of that one man up there on that stage as I was. Maybe there were, but I doubt it. Now, of course, it goes without saying that Eddie knew how influential he was to a hell of a lot of guitar players growing up in the late 70s and 80s. Once he reached a certain level of fame with his playing and all the accolades that it brought him. With time and a few albums under their belt, it was clear that he was changing the game. I would like to think that he also knew that he was molding and changing lives with his guitar, like mine, and lots of other people, of course. Like a lot of true die-hard early Van Halen fans, when the band lost David Lee Roth and moved on with Sammy Hagar, I still listened and still marveled at his playing, but some of the magic was gone for me, at least as far as the music went. Then, like I said, in my late 20s, I gave up the guitar when life got in the way and the prospects of making it in the music industry started to look grimmer and grimmer. And my life kind of went to shit for a while. Music became fairly unimportant to me, guitar especially. Heading into my 30s, I met a lovely girl. We got married and had two beautiful daughters. We've since divorced, but we're still good friends, thankfully. One of those daughters is a girl named Charlotte, who is now 17 years old. 25 years passed, and in those years, I didn't listen to much classic Van Halen, nor think too much about Eddie Van Halen. That was my past life. That chapter was over. I failed as a guitar player, and I put it behind me for good. Or so I thought. Now, I've told this story before, and I'm about to tell it again for the third time, because it's my bloody YouTube channel, and it's relevant to the topic at hand. One day, about 3 years ago, sitting at the dinner table, my daughter Charlotte, who I mentioned previously, who was 13 at the time, and a typical teenager with typical tastes in music for a 13-year-old girl, like, you know, One Direction and Taylor Swift and Katy Perry and the like, turned to me and said, "I've been listening to Van Halen. The good stuff with David Lee Roth, not that crappy Sammy Hagar stuff." When I finally picked my jaw up off the floor, I said, "You've been listening to what? You know, how the hell did you get into Van Halen?" She explained to me that she had heard the song Drop Dead Legs from 1984 on a TV show and liked it. She decided to find out who it was. She soon realized that she liked lots of their other stuff as well and dug in. Then she became obsessed, couldn't get enough of it. Top 40 now was completely off the menu, and classic Van Halen was most definitely on the menu. I was, of course, shocked and extremely happy about this turn of events. You know that I used to be obsessed with Van Halen when I was a teenager, I said to her. She really had no idea. She had found them on her own and was just sharing the information because I suppose she knew that I was around in the 80s when they were popular. She also knew that I used to play guitar, but had never actually heard me play. My teenage years and band playing days were things that I'd never really discussed with her. I could have played country and western guitar for all she knew. I explained to her that I was a disciple of Eddie Van Halen when I was a teenager, completely obsessed with his playing, blah, 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 all the things that I've already said. She wanted to know everything, so I told her, of course. Could you play Eruption? She said. Of course I can play Eruption. I can play most of his stuff, I said. I don't think she believed me at first. By this point, she had held Eddie Van Halen in pretty high regard. And who was I? I'm just dad. A dad who she had never heard play guitar before in her life. I said to her one day, I said, do you want to learn how to play guitar and learn some Van Halen riffs yourself? I could teach you. Her eyes just, lit up. Really? That would be amazing, she said. Sure, I said, I'll buy you a guitar. I'll give you some lessons, a couple of lessons a week. I've got an old guitar under the bed. I'll dig it out and we'll get started as soon as I find you some gear. And off we went. I retaught myself how to play after 25 years and also relearned lots of classic Van Halen riffs in order to teach her once she got up to speed and was capable. I also relearned Eruption just to show her that I wasn't messing around. And one night in the middle of one of our practice sessions, when I was teaching her how to play the riff to Dance the Night Away, we were chit-chatting about all things Van Halen as usual, and she said to me, he's not only a really good guitar player, but he's also really cute. Okay, I thought, my daughter has a crush on a guy from 1982. I laughed and I said to her, you realize he's like 62 years old now with gray hair? And she laughed and said, of course, I know, but he was really cute back then. And, I never really thought about him that way, to tell you the truth myself. Anyway, here I am, relearning all the old Van Halen stuff, teaching it to my Van Halen obsessed teenage daughter, who by this point knows every song by heart, every lyric to every song, every classic story, because she's read every Wikipedia page about the band and all the bandmates, has watched every video countless times, on and on and on. The kid was completely hooked on this band, and I was getting hooked again. Not only on the music of Van Halen, but with the guitar again. I was really starting to enjoy playing again. And we were bonding and having great fun with it. Christmas was rolling around, and I thought, I'm going to build her Eddie's famous red, black, and white striped guitar for Christmas, the Frankenstrat. She'll like that, I thought, and so I did. This guy right here. I got it done. It was great fun. I had no idea how to do it. I looked it up on YouTube. Turned out pretty well, I think, and she was thrilled. She loves this guitar. I didn't play it in this solo for Ice Cream Man because it needs a bit of a setup to solo on, especially at this kind of speed. So I just used my trusty Jackson instead. And anyway, just like that, after all those years, Eddie Van Halen was back in my life, inspiring me to play all over again, and much to my surprise, my daughter as well. I gave up the booze to focus on the guitar a few years ago now, and once again, like I was all those years ago, I'm guitar guy again to everybody who knows me, and I wouldn't have it any other way right now in my life. And I owe it all twice to Mr. Eddie Van Halen. My life has come full circle, and Eddie Van Halen was there to guide me both times. I am once again a fan of Van Halen's music, a fan of Eddie's playing, and going forward, I will hold everything he had taught me dear and close to my heart. He was a very important part of my life, this guy that I've never met, and sadly now never will. He touched my life in so many ways throughout the years, and for that I'm eternally grateful to him, and I will miss him terribly. But I still have the music, and I still have the memories, and I still have all those licks and tricks that he taught me, and that he is still teaching me to this day. And most importantly, I once again have the drive to play, and I'll not stop this time. I'm in love with the guitar. This time it's for good. This time it's for the love of the instrument, not some dream of making it and being the next Eddie Van Halen. There is and can only be one Eddie Van Halen, and he is irreplaceable. You've touched my soul, Eddie, and molded my life in ways that you can't even and couldn't even imagine. And it breaks my heart that you're gone. It breaks my daughter's heart that you're gone as well. Please know that you were more than a guitar player. You were an inspiration through your music. That, coupled with your tremendous skill and devotion to it, was an absolute joy to be a part of throughout my life. I hope you are at peace, and,